Hi everyone, welcome to Follow Your Heart here on the Natural Parent Magazine. I'm Ann Cullen, and today I'm answering some questions that people have asked throughout the week. Sitting here in my car while I'm waiting for my son. So the first one, is it normal to be leaking at 19 weeks? So this is a breastfeeding mom here. 19 weeks into her journey and still leaking, wondering if that's normal, saying she's got lots of milk and baby's still chucking up a lot, lots of spitting up still happening. So don't know what the weight gains are here. Of course, as with all of these, this will just be a general answer because I don't have lots of specifics, but if you have really high weight gains and feeling like you just have lots of milk squirting everywhere, or you get uncomfortable once in a while, especially if, baby's not fed for a while, then you probably could work at this point to slow down production a little bit. So we wouldn't recommend that, say, if you were talking in the first 6 to 8 weeks here, because that's when we want to make sure we build up the supply and really protect it for later. But by 19 weeks, you're very, very safe to kind of just start slowing things down a little bit. It's best sometimes to talk with someone specifically about what you're doing to make sure that that doesn't lead to engorgement and turn into mastitis or plugged ducts and stuff like that. But generally, it just means feeding more times on the same side before you're switching to the other side. So you might just be switching sides more than you need to. So you can do what a lot of people call block feeding. And that's just where no matter how many times baby would feed, say in a 3-hour period, you would always put him to the same side. So it can be a little bit tricky. It can take a good week or more for that system to work and for you to figure out your best times to switch to the other side. And yeah, so it is an inconvenience. It's not such a problem that you need to worry about it, obviously, but it's definitely an inconvenience. So if you're able to kind of slow down that supply, it can be helpful. The next one is about a 2-month-old. So it's kind of switching gears here to a little bit about sleep. This is a breastfed baby, so it's kind of still a breastfeeding question. So whenever we're asking questions about sleep, when we're talking about really young babies, this is a 2-month-old, then really how they're being fed really goes along with how they're sleeping often. So it's really all part of the same picture. So she's saying that he's breastfeeding really short feeds and then falling asleep, but it seems to be that he's sleeping more during the day. And then, having this long stretch of being awake really early in the morning and maybe only waking a couple of times during the night. So she kind of wants things to change a little bit and wondering, is sleep training the right thing, or do I just wait till he gets older? So I probably need to know a little bit more about what his weight gains are, but remembering we're looking at, 150 to 220 grams a week, at least at this point, which is, 5 to 7, 5 to 8 ounces a week. So making sure those weight gains are up, but really also wondering if really what good swallowing looks like. So a lot of times babies fall asleep after a really short feed because the milk's not really flowing and they're not really getting a good feed, and so that's what gets them to fall asleep kind of quickly. So I'd be really curious here what this baby's weight gains are. And no, you don't really need to sleep train. We don't really encourage that. But what you can make sure you're doing is keeping baby close to you for all of his sleep. So you might have caught my other videos that at 2 months, at least for the first 6 months, all baby's sleep should be with you in the same room with you, even in the daytime. So if baby's off in a dark room, for example, he might sleep longer. If your baby is being swaddled, he actually might sleep longer. So I would suggest lots of holding baby, lots of skin to skin, and just making sure you're not missing any feeding cues, and also making sure that he's not sleeping much longer because you're doing things like swaddling, darkening the rooms, using white noises and stuff like that. So again, that's probably the kind of situation I need to know a little bit more about, but I'm hoping that that helps you. But please be in touch if you need more information there. And kind of on that same theme, one of the mums wrote into me and said, should I be letting my baby sleep on me all the time? Because won't he just get used to it? And my response back was kind of, yeah, your baby will get used to it, but that's a good thing. Remembering this whole idea of the 4th trimester, at least 3 or 4 months of baby's life, they really do, most of them anyways, expect and require and enjoy lots and lots and lots of holding. So it's really, really normal. It's great for breastfeeding. It's great for bonding. And it's just what your baby expects. Remember, we're the ones that are thinking this through. They've just come out of this place where there was constant temperature, constant nutrition. Everything was constant for the most part, right? And now there's so much going on around them, and they're really going to feel the best, the most settled if they're being held, and often if they're breastfeeding quite a lot. So of course your baby's going to be used to you holding them for sleeps if that's what you're letting them to do, but that it really is normal for most babies. Now there are exceptions. Some babies actually do prefer to be put down, or if they don't prefer it, they're quite happily laid down when they're asleep and not needing to be held. My two are a perfect example of how different babies can be, where one was quite fine being laid down, kept him close, but laid him down somewhere, and the next one needed to be held. So just follow your baby's lead. If they feel better sleeping on you and you're okay with that, then just keep doing what you're doing. Oh, I'm getting some bright sun in my face here. So the last question is kind of the opposite of the first, was about a high supply, and then the last one I've got is about low supply. And this poor mum, baby really was struggling with weight gains right from the beginning, and so we do have an actual need here for supplementing. We're looking at only 40 grams of weight gain one week or 90 grams in another. So really low weight gains, a third to a half of what we'd want to be seeing in the first couple of weeks. So very, very good that you're doing the supplement. And now, according to the weight gains you've given me, 190 and 160 grams, it sounds like you're feeding just the right amount. And so that's all good. Keep going with that. Whatever you're doing there is good. But yeah, I do understand feeling tied to the pump is, it's hard. It's really hard. And as you've pointed out, and you're not the first mom to feel like you're missing out on some of your babies. So we do need to weigh these things up. But what are some of the things you can do? Domperidone is a medication that some mums in some countries can get. It works for a lot of mums. It can take 1 to 3 weeks for us to know how much it might help you. But in this situation, if you're taking that, that's great. Just get on a maximum dose of that and see what happens. Some mums find things like, we call them galactagogues, fenugreek, and different things can help. But really also checking, do you have a really good high quality double pump? Because sometimes we just need to get a better pump to get some better outputs. Yeah, some mums do end up having to pump and feed for entire breastfeeding relationships, but it can be quite complicated. So I'm certainly not going to be able to answer for you, is this something that you're going to be able to get past or not? I don't know. And just, you need to weigh up for yourself, is this worth what I'm doing? And definitely be in touch if you want some different personal help. It sounds like you're working with somebody, but please be in touch if you want more help. So hey, I hope all those helped. Please keep writing in with your questions and I will do my best to answer them on Fridays or sometime during the week in my videos. Bye everybody.